Another week in the rotation down. This week had some channel favorites, some that I've been spending quite a bit more time with to do individual reviews on, which I did release this past week. Just a whole bunch of really good stuff. It's week number 101 in the weekly rotation, so stay tuned. Starting off on Sunday, so this is one of the ones that I currently have an active discovery set giveaway going on that I did a full review. Instead of pointing out a full review each time throughout the week, I'll just put an iCard if you're interested to click. But this is hands down my favorite from the house. This is Michael Malal Ocean Noir. Definitely has jumped up to being one of my favorite blue fragrances. It doesn't come across super synthetic like some blue fragrances can. It does give me the ocean mist, aquatic blue vibe without smelling exactly like every other fragrance that fits that vibe. I love that about this. It's not too in your face, but it's pretty long lasting, and it can grab attention without overwhelming somebody or punching them in the nose where they, okay, that smells good. It's not one of those where they might get a light whiff of the aroma, and it may want to draw in somebody to ask more about the fragrance. It could potentially be a conversation starter. I'm really digging this one. This is my favorite from the house of what I've tried so far. I do own 4 bottles from them now, and I've tried, I want to say 7 of their fragrances. And Ocean Noir for me, it's definitely jumped up into my top 10 blue fragrances, potentially my top 5. I may have to revamp that list in the very near future because this stuff, really digging. And then when I got the shower, it was time for a good shave. Now, of course, my default is always going with the Business Over Pleasure shave set. This is the aftershave splash, and as per usual, I always give myself a few sprays of the fragrance as well, and I am happy to announce that it is officially done for. There are no more bottles available. It's been quite the experience. I'm not going to drag this on too long, but I do want to take a moment to thank everybody that has purchased Business Over Pleasure, whether it was for a split to decant with some of your friends or some of your acquaintances in the community, or you purchased a bottle, or like several people I know have, purchased several bottles to stock up because you really enjoy the scent. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you. This has been an unbelievably memorable experience for all of us. On behalf of all the Zed creators and George, I want to thank all of you. Whether you purchase just the Siren, just Brass and Soul, just Business Over Pleasure, 2 of the 3 or all 3, we appreciate you. So, out the shower, had a really good shave, as per usual, the Business Over Pleasure shave set, as well as a couple of sprays of the fragrance. And speaking of Zaharoff, I did a revisiting video over 2 years later. Not that I haven't worn it in 2 years, but one that I just wanted to discuss because things change, tastes change, but one thing that hasn't changed is my love for Zaharoff Signature Pour Homme, the base DNA for all the fragrances that have come out in the house since 2018. Still a great fragrance. Man, look, I lovely lavender balm up top, warm, resinous, spicy, woody, a little herbaceous, a lot of character, super high quality, great performer. There's always a link in my video descriptions that'll save you 10% if you're ready to purchase something from the house of Zaharoff, whether it be the travel set where you pick 3 fragrances from the collection to try, or you're ready to get yourself a bottle of the big boy right here, Signature Pour Homme. While still narrowly my favorite these days is Signature Rosé. I just think that is so remarkable. I can't believe how much I enjoy a rose fragrance. It's just an incredible rose incense fragrance. So it has surpassed this as my favorite from the house, but trust me, Signature Pour Homme still comes into a very, very close second because this is my favorite fragrance when it's time to wear a suit. It's the first fragrance I think of. 9 times out of 10, it's what I'm going to wear. During the day, Zaharoff's Signature Pour Homme, one of my personal favorite fragrances in my collection. Then we got the shower, new acquisition, Sean John I Am King. So performance is nothing to write home about, but boy does this smell good. Man, this lovely fruity freshness. This is an addictive smell. It really is. It's like a 2-hour fragrance. As in line with the other Sean John fragrance I have, 3 AM. That one lasts a little bit longer, but So far, I have 2 Sean John fragrances, this and 3 AM, and they both smell phenomenal and unique in their own right, where I don't have other fragrances that smell like them. I'm so glad I picked this up. I ended up refreshing and overspraying the hell out of this. I must have sprayed 8 or 10 sprays when I got out the shower, and then like 2 or 3 hours later, I gave myself like another 10 sprays, just going to town. This stuff smells incredible. If performance is utmost important to you, don't waste your money, I guess. But if you want something that smells really good, that you don't mind refreshing, Sean John, I am king. This stuff is awesome. I'm so glad I grabbed this in one of my more recent, actually my most recent rack store video. This was a great little gem. First time I come across it, didn't hesitate to pick it up, and I am really, really enjoying this. Out the shower, Sean John, I am king. Moving into Tuesday, probably my favorite vanilla scent from the designer market, honestly. Mercedes-Benz Club Black, another one that I did a full review on this week. This stuff's awesome. It performs. God, it smells good. It performs. It doesn't smell super synthetic or anything like that. Now, it doesn't smell like a $300 fragrance, but it sure doesn't smell like a $50 fragrance either. Because I'll put that same link that I put in the review video. I'm not sure if they still have a stock, but they were 49 bucks for a 100 ml from Amazon. From actual Amazon is the seller. Not just ships from Amazon, they're the actual seller. And this stuff is fantastic. It punches well above that $49 price point. The performance is there. This alluring, seductive, warm amber smoked vanilla type of smell going for it. The ambroxan's not too heavy. It kind of smooths it out and adds a little bit of a freshness to it. Really helps this thing push. This is an awesome, awesome fragrance. Make sure to check out my full review video for my full thoughts and the performance I get out of it. But this stuff is great during the day. Mercedes-Benz Club Black. And then we got the shower. This is kind of a relaxing, winding down type of fragrance for me. I don't wear it all the time, but I sure love the hell out of when I do wear it. From Serge Lutens, 5 o'clock Eau Gingembre. My favorite ginger fragrance. The blend with this warm ginger, it's not bright and crisp. It's warm. It's soothing and smooth. The cacao pod gives this smoky leather type of nuance in the dry down. The tea is nice and herbal. It has such a relaxing quality to it. This really is a wonderful, laid-back scent. Performance is there in longevity. I get like 7 to 8 hours of life out of it, but it doesn't really push heavy off my skin. It's a more intimate level for you type of scent that I just enjoy. I've never gotten a compliment when I've worn this one before, but it's one of the most enjoyable and relaxing fragrances in my collection. When I need something to just help me wind down for the day, kick back in the evening, that's when I like to reach for fragrances like 5 o'clock Eau Gingembre. If you haven't tried this one yet, I know some of the amber scents and Cherokee, they get all the love, but this is kind of a must-try from the house in my opinion. Definitely full bottle worthy. I'm super happy to have a bottle of this. This stuff it's super relaxing, I'm telling you. 5 o'clock Eau Gingembre from Serge Lutens. Moving into Wednesday, one that you don't really see anybody talk about. This is a very underrated niche fragrance. I'm talking about Menthol Spicy Oud. This stuff is special, and it's a beast. Medicinal oud, slightly synthetic. I mean, it's not the most natural. It's not crazy barnyard stinky type of oud. It's nothing super challenging. But saffron's listed as the only spice, and I do get a little bit of kind of a red peppery type of spice in the opening, but as it dries, it becomes all about the patchouli and the warm wood smell that's left of the oud. Very creamy, earthy patchouli. This stuff is delightful. Once that saffron kind of burns off, the spices kind of subside, if you will, several hours in. What's left is just lovely. This might be my favorite oud patchouli combo that I've ever smelled. This stuff is super underrated. Get yourself a sample and try this. I've never smelled it on anyone else. I don't know anyone else that has this fragrance. I know people own it. I've just never had a conversation with anyone about it. And this is kind of jumping to the top up there with Honey Oud for me. Honey Oud's still my favorite from the house, but this is climbing up there. This is definitely top 3, if not top 2. It might be number 2 to Honey Oud for me because I enjoy it that much and it's that unique in my collection. I love spices. I really enjoy oud as it starts to get colder, and the patchouli here is just so well done. In the evening and during the day, went with Spicy Oud from Montal. And then whenever we got back, because we actually went to the Avalanche game that night, that's why I say in the evening I was wearing that as well, because the performance was there. It went like 11 or 12 hours before I took a shower and got dressed and got ready for the Avalanche game, and ended up going with Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue for women. That's right, the ladies version. I do enjoy the ladies version too, not just the men's. Reason being, it reminds me a lot of Versace Man Eau Fraiche with some florals. That's kind of what it smells like, the floral version of Versace Man Eau Fraiche. As a lot of you know, I do enjoy my floral dominant fragrances. There's a lot of women's fragrances, not a lot. There's maybe 2 handfuls, I guess you could say, of women's fragrances that I thoroughly enjoy wearing for myself, this being one of them. I've never tried the Eau Intense. I would like to. I will get around to it at some point. But this stuff's delightful. Super long lasting. No, it's like a 4-hour fragrance on my skin. But as like I said before, I have no problem refreshing. Another one's a great relaxing scent out the shower. Super fresh, laid back type of stuff. Doesn't smell super feminine for having a bunch of florals in it, but still has kind of that bamboo, super citrus, musky, fresh, spicy smell that Versace Man Eau Fraiche is known for. Just mix in some florals into there, and you get Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue for women out the shower. And for the Avalanche game, that's what I wore. Moving into Thursday, this is one of the more interesting fragrances I've gotten in recent memory, because it continues to surprise me every time I wear it, because I still can't figure out what to attribute that smoky accord that I get on my skin with Ormond Jane Montalbano Verano. So the note breakdown would lend you to believe citruses, florals, leather, tobacco type of thing going on, some oak moss, kind of a chypre vibe meets citrus floral. So what I get is, I get plenty of juicy citrus up top, but I don't really get much of the florals. I don't get the violet. It doesn't jump out at me. I do get a little bit of ambergris, mostly Isoe Super, leather and tobacco, and that's pretty much that, and this smoky accord that I can't figure out what it's from. I don't know if it's a combination of the way the leather and the tobacco with the ambergris and the Isoe Super. I just don't know. But it does have a strong smoky nuance. Not so much out the bottle, but more so on my skin, and it's absolutely delightful. This is very powerful. Not cheap, it's $190 for a 50 ml, but it's signature scent worthy. It's one that you can wear year round. Even though it's dominated by Isoe Super on my skin, it doesn't come across as some crazy synthetic fragrance. It still smells of a quality, luxurious fragrance, if you will, but one that you can wear for anything. Dressed up, dressed down, any season, doesn't matter. It just works. Really been digging spending time with this one lately. During the day, Ormond Jane Montalbano Verano. And then when I got the shower, one of my favorite scent profiles ever created, really, that is Emporio Armani's Stronger With You. This is the original. I know they've come out with a bunch of wonderful flankers that people have praised. I still haven't tried any of them. And every time I mention that, I tend to get some flack from some of you guys. And look, I get it. It's just when I'm in the mood for this scent profile, it makes me want to wear this. When I want something sweet and warm, it's not so much uplifting, but it's more mellow and relaxing. It's seductive. It's such an attractive and addicting scent that I want to keep smelling on myself. I can't help but reach for it. And I'm sure Absolutely is great. I'm sure Intensely is great. I heard Freeze is kind of a mixed bag. I may end up liking it. I don't know. And then I haven't tried the Leather Flanker either. Honestly, all of them sound like something I would enjoy, especially Leather and Absolutely. But it's hard not to go with this when I'm in the mood for Strong With You, because the original is just that good. The base DNA for this line, in my opinion, is just that good. Out the shower, Emporio Armani, Stronger With You. Moving into Friday, the ever so popular and polarizing Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum. Hate it or love it. I love it. It's the spicier version of the original. Redundant to have with the original? Yeah. If you want the fresher one, go with the EDT. If you want the spicier one, go with the spicier one, go with the EDP. They perform about the same for me. Whereas The original, the Eau de Toilette's a little bit more airy and bright. This is a little bit more sweet and spicy, but the sweetness isn't too heavy, the vanilla. And if you want the more sweet version than this, you could go with the Parfum. If you want the even spicier version that really tones down the DNA, go with the Elixir. But of course, the price is going up as we go through these concentrations. But I really think this is the happy medium. I don't wear this all the time. Honestly, when I wear Sauvage, the EDT is the only one I don't have the box for because it came in a gift set. It's sitting right there next to my chair. It's just the easiest to grab and go with. So it is the one I wear the most, but it's actually my least favorite. But I do enjoy the entire line. Honestly, my opinion, if you're just going to get one that does a little bit of everything that the line has to offer, give the EDP a try. It's solid, it performs, it gets compliments, it does all those things that the average person cares about with their fragrance. That's why they sell so many bottles. And then when I got the shower, it was time for another good shave. And first time I actually have used this particular shave set, because most of the time I go with business over pleasure. I have used Brass and Soul a few times, but I ended up going with the Siren. I burned the candle while I was shaving, lathered up the soap, had a nice relaxing shave, and then afterwards gave myself 2 sprays of the fragrance like I usually do. For those of you that have tried the Siren, you understand how much of a gorgeous, naughty, seductive, slightly gourmand, leathery scent this actually is. I've always described it as a naughty fragrance. I'll continue to always describe it as a naughty fragrance because it's got that seductive quality, the pull you in, the story of the Siren. It all fits. It really does. Fantastic fragrance created by Andrea and Anthony over at Curly Scents. It's awesome. For those of you that were able to get a bottle before it sold out, congrats. It's a great fragrance. And I definitely enjoyed it the other night. Out the shower, had a good shave. The Siren. Finally on Saturday, one that I actually haven't worn since very beginning of the year. It's been a little while, and it was such a delight to wear, because at the recording of this was my scent of the day earlier today. That is Zadig and Voltaire. This is him. At one point, a hype beast in its own right. Smoky amber vanilla scent once again, but doesn't smell, I wouldn't categorize it exactly the same as Mercedes-Benz Club Black. They're in the same family, but they don't have the exact same balance or the exact same smell. Honestly, it says grapefruit, vanilla, incense, and sandalwood right here on the side. And if that is the only notes in there, I don't know what makes this ambery smell. Same thing as Mercedes-Benz Club Black. There's no amber note in there, but it's got an ambery smell as well. Whereas this is much, much more creamy than the Mercedes fragrance. That's where they really differ. Whereas that's a bit more fresh and warm, I find this much more smoky and creamy. The incense is much more dominant in here than it is there. So not redundant to own both in my opinion, maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't sit here and say they're the same fragrance by any means. Definitely, I think they're both worth owning together. That's why I own them together, you know. Really good stuff, solid performer, not a beast, not a loud fragrance. Average type of stuff, maybe arm's length for an hour or two, but it does last. That's the beauty, is if you're looking for a good daily driver in the cooler weather, the autumn, this is great for that. I think this is a better daily driver than Mercedes-Benz Club Black would be. I think that's better suited for the evenings, whereas this can be great during the day. This, while still has a sexy appeal to it, not quite as much as Mercedes-Benz Club Black. I feel like this is a great daily driver. Screams fall to me. Definitely works in the winter as well. But in my opinion, great daily driver because it's not too in your face. It's not too spicy. It's nice and smooth, creamy, and smoky. Just does the trick for me. During the day, Zadig and Voltaire, this is him. And then when I got the shower a little while ago, this is currently on my skin. Guerlain L'Homme Ideal, the Eau de Parfum. Beautiful cherry almond leather. It's good stuff. So good. So good. A lot of people's favorite in the line. I don't think there's such a thing as picking a wrong favorite in this line. Even the Sport, believe it or not, because I think that's criminally underrated. I think it's quite unique for a fresh, watery fragrance because of the almond. But I mean, L'Intense is my personal favorite. This runs a close second. Some people's favorite is the discontinued Cologne flanker. Some people like the EDT more. Some people, this is it. I get it. Some people love the new Extreme. That's their favorite. Hands down, no argument. Like I said, I believe there is no wrong answer to picking a favorite in this line because, in my opinion, it's one of the best lines for a fragrance enthusiast to collect the entire line. It stays true to the original's DNA and tweaks and turns and twists it to make different fragrances that still maintain the same fingerprint. I love that about this line. I think Guerlain has worked wonders with this line, and it's one of my favorite fragrance lines in my collection. I haven't wore this one in a while, so it's a joy to have it on right now because I've only had it on for a little over an hour, so it's still nice and in my face. Lovely fragrance that if you haven't tried yet, you really should. Great for dates for sure. Out the shower, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. Well, that's week number 101. Until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. For those of you familiar with this format that watch pretty regularly, you know what I'm about to say. Let me know down below, what did your fragrant week look like? What did you wear? Did we match anything at all this week? Did you happen to wear Guerlain L'Homme Ideal EDP at some point? You know, I love hearing about that stuff. Love reading that every week in the comments. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the fragrances that I wore in this past week's rotation and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.